We are on the record. This is video number 1 of the deposition of Philip Ertl. This is in the matter of Professional Focus Publishing, LLC versus Wauwatosa School District et al. This is pending in the Circuit Court of Milwaukee County, case number 2015 CV 4750.
Would you agree that you have an important public role regarding the public having access to relevant happenings at your school district?
Yes.
And likewise, would you agree you have an important public role in ensuring that they have access to records of those happenings if they exist?
Yes.
I'll rephrase the question. Do you find that it's necessary to redact information from open records requests?
Yes.
And if you're redacted information, what sort of procedure do you follow in terms of informing the requester about the redactions?
Well, there's again, I would refer to what our policy or law says and how we...
And what does the policy say? I'll help you out. If you look at...
It's in there, I can read through it.
Yeah, if you look at the bottom of page 1 and the top of page 2, the highlighted portion, it reads, if the DRO, that is the legal custodian of the records, determines that portions of any records requested contain information that should not be released, the custodian will redact portions or remove material not to be released and thereafter release the balance of the document. Then it continues, the DRO shall inform the requester of the nature of the material or portions withheld and the authority under which the access has been denied. Did I read that correctly?
Correct.
So tell me in your own words how you interpret that language.
We inform people of what's redacted. Well, they'll see what's redacted, but why it's redacted, and that's done in writing in the response.
And this language basically means that you have to cite some reason or authority to make the redaction, correct?
No objection, the document speaks for itself.
You can go ahead and answer.
Yeah, we would inform the requester of the nature of the material or portions withheld and the authority under which access has been denied.
Does this policy create mandatory reporting requirements about bullying?
I'd have to read through it to see if the word mandatory is used.
Well, again, I'll help you out. Please go toward the bottom of the first page. It's the second to last paragraph, and it reads, all school staff members and school officials who observe or become aware of acts of bullying are required to report these acts to the building principal or assistant principal or the superintendent. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
So, under this policy, if, say, an employee, for example, becomes aware of bullying by a student, that employee is required to report that to a higher up, correct?
Yes.
And that may include you as
Yes.
superintendent. So my question, Doctor, is does this policy also require, once there's been a report of bullying, does this policy require a subsequent investigation?
Yes.
Have you ever been a part of an investigation like that?
In my career?
In your tenure at the Wauwatosa School District?
I don't recall if I have been.
All right, let's say under this policy that you became aware from an employee that 10 years ago a teacher had been bullying students in class. And my question is, that's 10 years ago. Under this policy, do you launch an investigation? Or I should say, does the principal of that school launch an investigation? Or is the principal sort of time barred from investigating that report?
Which is the question? Would they launch an investigation or are they time barred?
Well, first answer, would they launch an investigation?
That would be dependent upon if any of the people are around.
Okay. Under this policy, is the principal time barred from launching an investigation?
No.
For this given school year, there were 62 reports of bullying, correct?
Right.
And I'm wondering, what I'm wondering is it possible that there were other reports of bullying that were not documented due to the fact that there is stated inconsistent data collection across the district?
No, because bullying is a subjective term. So when somebody reports it as bullying, it's investigated as bullying.
Okay. So we reviewed a number of policies and guidelines. Bullying, a statement of a guideline relating to the public records law compliance in your district. We reviewed this employee concerns policy. As superintendent, is it fair to say that you're the chief enforcer of those policies?
Yes.
And you qualified yourself as chief operating officer, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And during your tenure as superintendent, you were familiar with these policies at all times. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. And as chief operating officer and legal custodian of district records, is it fair to say that you're the point person for open records requests?
Yes.
This is an open records request dated May 22nd, 2014, actually signed by Mark Knutson. Do you recognize this open records request?
Yes.
All right. And in this request, sort of in the middle of the page there, we simply asked you to produce the open records requests that were made to your district since May 1st, 2013 to the present. What I'm wondering, Doctor, is why weren't those produced originally in response to our records request of May 22nd, 2014?
No, it was an oversight.
Okay. So they were in somebody's file somewhere and they just were overlooked. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
All right. There's no dispute on your part that your district actually possessed those records requests.
Correct.
All right, Dr. Ertl, I'm just going to show you exhibit number 14 again. We just reviewed that last time before we took a break. And this is the letter sent by Connie Galante to Mr. Ozengay on July 1st, 2013. Now, you produced that document to us as part of our open records requests. And by making that production, did you personally review this document as you produced it to us? Or did somebody else find it and mail it to us?
Did I personally? I don't recall.
Okay. Well, what I'm wondering, Doctor, is you indicated that it was an oversight that you produced Mr. Ozengay's 5 open records requests today versus at an earlier time, correct?
Correct.
And you indicated that that was an oversight because they were buried in a file somewhere, correct?
No,
No? How was it an oversight then?
I didn't say why. I mean, it was. I can't explain why it's an oversight. We just neglected or failed to find it and give it to you.
Okay, how would those records, those 5 records requests, have been stored?
In a file
At which location?
in the superintendent's office or in human resources.
Okay, well, do you know which one? Were they in your office or were they in the HR director's office?
I don't know.
Mr. Ertl, over the last several years, has the district had any kind of trouble complying with the open records law?
No.
And that's, I don't mean to include this particular lawsuit in that question.
Right.
So aside from this suit, you've had no other problems complying with the open records law?
No, in 16 years as a records custodian, none.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's being marked as exhibit number 15. Do you recognize that document?
No.
Well, this is a final determination by the Equal Rights Division. It's captioned in the matter of Jane Gabrielson versus Wauwatosa School District, and on the 3rd page, it's dated February 20th, 2014. At that time, you were the superintendent of the district, correct?
Yes.
And looking at page 3, where it says summary, the document reads, "The department finds that the respondent violated the law." The respondent refers to the Wauwatosa School District as indicated on page 1. The paragraph continues, "To settle this matter, the respondent should release the disputed documents. If the respondent does not do so within 7 working days, this matter will be referred for litigation consistent with this decision." Did I read that correctly?
Where did you read that again?
That's on page 3.
Yes.
So you're telling me that this is the first time you've seen this document?
No, I'm not telling you that.
Well, you testified that you've had no previous problems complying with the open records law, correct?
Correct.
And when was the first time you saw this document?
I don't know.
You have no idea.
I don't know.
Well, it must have been, you have seen it before. That's your testimony, correct?
I don't know that I've seen it before.
Well, I asked you if today's the first time you're seeing this, and you said no.
I don't think I said no.
I'm asking you, have you seen this document before today?
I don't know if I've seen it before.
This finding that the district violated the law is something that you would be aware of as superintendent, correct?
Correct.
Do you know who Jane Gabriel?
Want this back?
And subsequent to your production of that document, exhibit number 17, we sent you another records request on April 20th, 2015. It's been marked as exhibit number 18. And this records request is addressed to you, correct?
Correct.
Do you recall reviewing this records request?
No.
Is it possible that you did not review this records request?
No.
So since it's addressed to you, you are certain that you did read it?
Yeah, I just don't recall it.
Okay, fair enough. On page 2 of this document, we requested follow-up documentation from you. I'll just read from it. Request number 3 says, "Due to the rather significant passage of time since my earlier June 17, 2014 record request, and to supplement those records that were previously furnished, please provide the following. And skipping down to Part B, we asked you to provide district records and documents from June 17, 2014 to the present that reflect matters submitted to the district or records or documents generated by the district in response to or in connection with alleged bullying under policy 5517.01. And I'll stop there. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know if you provided us any records of bullying that had occurred in your district upon and after receiving this records request from us?
No.
To wrap this point up, you didn't have any kind of meetings in 2014 with parents about bullying,
Not that I recall.
and you didn't have any meetings with coaches about bullying in 2014.
Not that I can recall.
Isn't it true that bullying has been a problem in your school district in recent years?
Define problem.
That it's actually happening?
As I mentioned earlier, if there's one incident of bullying, it's a problem.
Okay. Isn't it true that there have been a number of complaints about bullying in your district in recent years?
What's the number? Has there been complaints? Yeah, I think we verify that by looking at the numbers each year.
Okay. I'll take these exhibits back from you. I'm showing you exhibit number 19. Do you recognize this exhibit?
No.
This exhibit is a series of news articles. The first one is captioned, "Study describes behavioral problems at Wauwatosa's Washington Elementary School." You don't have any recollection of this news article?
Not the article, no.
Okay. Well, look at the first page with me. It says, the first paragraph says, "Parents with students at Washington Elementary School have received the results of an investigation into bullying and harassment at the school, along with a letter from Superintendent Ertl outlining the steps taken or planned in response to the findings." Did I read that correctly?
Yes, you did.
And that refers to you, correct?
Yes.
All right. Dr. Ertl, we reviewed Exhibit 8 earlier today. This, again, it involves Administrative Guideline 3141.01, Employee Concerns. And you testified that this guideline is designed to help employees facilitate disputes with other employees, correct?
Correct.
All right. Isn't it true that this policy also, by its own terms, allows employees to raise concerns they have about some aspect of the operation of the school or district that is not functioning as it should? And you can review that document.
Correct.
Okay. So if an employee had a concern about how the district was functioning versus how that employee thought it should function, this would be an appropriate guideline to bring a concern under, correct?
They should make arrangements to discuss the matter with the school principal
Okay.
as soon as feasible.
Thank you. I'll take that back. You testified earlier today that you're familiar with Lyda Ozengay and I guess I don't recall if you said you've seen her 3 concerns document or if you're familiar with it. So I'll ask you. Have you seen her document known as the 3 concerns?
I have seen it.
Okay.
Remarking this? It's 20, you said?
Yes.
I'm showing you exhibit number 20. Do you recognize this document as the 3 concerns document which was submitted by Ms. Ozengay?
Yes.
Okay. Approximately when did she submit this document?
I don't know.
Now, in our records requests, we asked you to produce that Doug Buell recommendation, correct?
I don't remember if that was in there.
Okay. Bear with me 1 second. I may have to take a break to print off that particular records request. Are you familiar, Dr. Ertl, with a recommendation that Doug Buell wrote on behalf of Ms. Ozengay?
No,
Never seen it before.
no.
All right. I'm going to show you exhibit number 24. This is a letter dated May 8th, 2013. It's not signed, but it has the name Doug Buell underneath the signature line. And it starts by saying, "Hi, Frank." Do you know who the author might be referring to by the name Frank?
I can assume
What would the assumption be?
Frank Clarko, the principal at West High School.
Okay. And would Mr. Clarko have been involved in the hiring process for the position at Whitman West, which was posted on April 1st?
Yes,
Okay. Your testimony is that you've never seen this document before, exhibit number 24.
correct.
Okay. Do you know if Mr. Clarko's ever seen it before?
I don't know.
So if it's the case that Ms. Ozengay submitted this recommendation as part of her job application, how is it possible that I would have a copy, but the district would not have a copy of it?
I can't answer how you would have a copy.
You've never seen it before, right?
Correct.
And the district doesn't have a copy of it either, correct?
Correct.
All right, I'll refer you back to exhibit number 20, the 3 concerns. Toward the bottom of page 3, Ms. Ozengay says that, "When I sat down for the initial interview, I was told by Principal Frank Clarko to answer 9 questions and give succinct answers with no BS. Did I read that correctly?"
Yes,
All right. Well, first of all, if it's true that Principal Clarko told Ms. Ozengay to give answers with no BS, do you think that's an appropriate way to speak to a person interviewing for a job?
no,
Okay. Are you aware of any other complaints by district personnel against Principal Clarko?
not off the top of my head.
No? Is there anything that would help refresh your memory?
If you have something to share, you probably would.
During your tenure as superintendent, did you ever have any contacts with a person by the name of Lena M. Patton?
Yeah, she was an employee of the school district.
Was she a principal?
She was an associate principal,
At which school?
West High School.
Associate at West. So that would make her a second in command under Principal Calarco.
Subordinate of Mr. Clark.
Okay. Now I just wanted to clarify that on page 1 of this exhibit, this is a document that was sent from Lena Patton to a number of recipients. First of all, Doctor, are you at all familiar with any allegations of bullying by Ms. Patton against Mr. Calarco?
No.
Okay. So anything that I read from this document, whether it's true or not, this would be the first time that you're hearing about any allegations by her against Mr. Calarco.
I don't know that until I
Okay.
hear what you have to say.
Well, let me read some of this document to you. I guess I'll start with, again, page 2, and you can follow along during the highlighted portions. It says, during the first week in May 2011, after an administration morning meeting, Frank came into my office. He sat down in the chair across from me and began talking about my calendar attendance sheet. And then I'm just following along with the highlighted portions here. He proceeded to say that administrators were going to get in trouble for not coding days that they are sick. I continued, wait, are you trying to accuse me of stealing time? He said, no, I just don't want you to get in trouble. I said, trouble for what? I haven't missed any days for being sick. The conversation continued. Frank started to state days that he thought I missed or times I came in late. I began to dispute what he was saying. We went back and forth for a while until I asked him to leave my office. If you'll turn the page, I'm not going to read all of this. If you'll turn the page, it's on top of page 4. Highlighted portion reads, also, Dan informed me that Frank wanted me to apologize to him and referenced Frank as a bull in a china shop. Have you ever heard Principal Calarco referred to as a bull in a china shop before?
No.
Do you think that he's a bull in a china shop?
Define bull in a china shop.
I'll ask you to define that.
No, then the answer is no.
Does Principal Calarco have an aggressive personality?
No.
Also on this page, it's the second to last paragraph, the last sentence. The author says, I informed him that the staff at Roosevelt had an I Hate Frank club that would go out, drink, and talk about how awful a person he is. Is this the first time that you're hearing about the I Hate Frank club?
Yes.
Would it be a problem, in your opinion, if that club actually, in fact, existed?
Well, if it exists in our operations, yeah, I think any situation like that is a problem.
Under the district's bullying policies and guidelines, and also under the district's employee concerns guideline, which we reviewed earlier today, are these incidents, as I've read them, the type of thing that should be documented in the district?
No.
Why not?
Until there's a reason to document, it's an accusation. What's here is a list of accusations.
So if Ms. Ozengay had physically walked into your office and given you this timeline, your testimony is that that would not automatically trigger an investigation.
If this document was handed, yes.
What if she simply walked into your office and described these things to you orally,
Yes,
that would also trigger an investigation?
yes.
And to your knowledge and understanding, regarding the entries that I read to you, was there ever an investigation made about those incidents?
I don't know.
If the allegations in this timeline turn out to be true, do you think that some of the responsibility for what's being alleged happened falls on your shoulders?
It's a pretty hypothetical statement that I can't give you an answer.
You have a responsibility to respond to bullying in your district, correct?
Right,
And that's bullying by students, correct?
correct.
And bullying by teachers, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Would Mr. Dan Shannon be aware of this timeline?
I don't know.
Has he ever spoken to you about these types of allegations that are in this timeline?
I don't remember.
All right, and then I'll just refer you back to the $43,000 bill on the previous 2 pages. You testified you don't know what that correlates to either, right?
No.
Okay. Wait, I'm sorry.
Well, it would appear that those numbers relate to the pages that precede it.
Which is what I said.
And I guess, Dr. Ertl, what I'm asking you to do is, if you can, summarize some of the services that you were contracted for in that time, which totaled this $43,000 figure.
Without looking at the bill, that's
You have the bill in front of you.
where?
Well, apparently it's this whole document. That's your testimony.
Oh, this is a significant part of it is Buell Vetter conducted the investigation at Washington that you referenced earlier.
Okay.
So that's what a majority of it is, it looks like.
Anything else?
Not that I can necessarily see on here. Yeah, majority of it's for that, looks like.
What would you say if somebody accused you of misconduct in public office for failing to document bullying?
What would I say? I don't know, I would have to be accused and then I could respond.
Well, assume that you're accused of that.
Well, I'll object to that hypothetical as well, but you can answer.
I don't know how I'd respond.
And if you became aware that your principals were not documenting reports of bullying, would that be something that you would follow up with in discipline?
Object to the hypothetical, but you can answer.
I would have a discussion. Absolutely.
I know I said 2 questions, but this is a follow-up to that response. What would the discussion look like?
I don't know, it depends upon the circumstances surrounding the issue.
Is it a serious issue if principals are not reporting? Strike that. Is it a serious issue to you if principals are not documenting bullying reports?
It's not possible. A bullying report in itself is a written report. Until it's written, it's not a bullying report.
Okay, well,